Welcome back to the randInt podcast with Raffy and Chandra. Hooray! Hey, that's not the right one. Wait, it's this one. Yay! That's the cheery one. Woohoo! We're trying to get back to being regular on the podcast, okay? After that little accidental hiatus thanks to a certain Chandra,
Whoops.
Mr. Boat Pirate person.
Hashtag
But-
time zones. Hashtag weather.
Yeah, sure. Excuses. That pirate life. And today I wanted to talk about something that is topical on my mind, which is chucking a sickie. It turns
Why
out
is chucking a sickie on your mind?
Well, because I did take sick leave today. And it turns out it's an Australian pastime. I would like to put a little asterisk. I didn't chuck a sickie because I had other stuff to do. I was actually sick, kind of.
Same
And that's
thing.
what I wanted to talk about. So the story is like last night. We're recording this on like Friday. So on Thursday evening, I went out with my brother-in-law and his wife, and we had a large meal. And I got home and I was feeling fine. I went to bed, and I want to say about 1 a.m., I kind of was like half awake, and I had like this weird pain. It wasn't on my right iliac fossa, right side of my abdomen. It's on the left. It was weird. And I kind of fell back asleep. At about 2:30, 3 o'clock, it was like stabbing, like I could not sleep. So then I went to the bathroom a few times, was really queasy, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, And so I was like, do I call in sick? Do I not? And I was like, look, if it goes away by 3, I'll see how I feel in the morning. And it didn't really go away until like 3:30, 4 o'clock. And then I got up because today we had like an early morning meeting, and I got up and I felt like crap, right? And when I tried to sit up, I was like, oh, still not 100%. But at the same time, like, I don't feel that bad, Like, it's not like I have down with a fever or anything. But then I had been running back and forth to the toilet, like, am I infectious? I don't know, right?
There's
Like,
one way to find out. Go to work, see if other people get sick.
Yeah, so then I was like, oh, what do I do? And then I was like, you know what? I actually don't feel 100%. I'll call in sick. And then proceeded so this was, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't get back to sleep because I just had these weird aches and pains till like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then I just zonked out till like nearly midday. And I woke up and I'm like, okay, there was clearly something going on because I usually can't sleep during the day. Not that deeply anyway. And then the rest of the day I felt kind of fine, like tired, but fine, but super guilty because I'm like, did I just do a sickie?
Almost like you took a day off to rest and your body recovered. But it recovered just a little bit too quickly.
Well, I mean, because the thing is, that's why it's like it has been on my mind because, I mean, I don't know, like, I think we're roughly the same, right? During our younger years as interns and whatnot, like, I remember there was the only day I took off, so I took off 3 days when I was an intern, and it was because whilst I was on a ward round, I was shivering, and at the end of the day, I got one of the nurses to check my temperature, and it was 41 degrees.
Nothing a bit of Panadol can't fix.
And for the Americans, I think that's about 100, right? Like, I think that's
pretty much. But
yeah.
It's definitely in the well and truly febrile range.
What was it? 40.5 degrees.
But yeah,
let's ask it. Yeah. Yeah.
Normally, that
like,
would be mildly acceptable.
Yeah, so I was like, look, I don't normally take sick leave, so it always, like, I just felt guilty for the rest of the day for actually feeling well. It's 104.9 is 40.5 degrees, so it's hot. So that was like the one day, and I remember that was that day, and I actually felt much better like a day and a half later, so I'm back. I think I took 2 consecutive days off, and that was it, the entire year. So in most years, I can kind of count on one hand. Yeah. Hence, I was just like, when, like, it's known as the great Aussie pastime, like having a sickie, especially on long weekends and whatnot. So to say, like, when do you personally take sick leave, right? Because today I kind of felt guilty about it. I'm like, it wasn't, like, it's not my normal definition of being sick, but at the same time, like, I didn't want to
feel like,
germs.
Interestingly, like, the before and after COVID attitude to taking sick leave has changed a little bit.
Yep.
Like, I too before was like, oh, well, that's why you have a mask when you operate. It catches all the snot, so it's fine. So, what's the problem? Get on with it. But, yeah, since the COVID thing, suddenly it's like, maybe sharing disease with everybody is not a good idea.
Yeah, sharing is not caring in this context.
Yeah, but like going through, like same as you, med school, junior, etc. Take sick leave. Like, no, 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 no. Like that's what Panadol and pseudoephedrine is for. Like,
It's
it'll
like,
pick you
drug
up. You'll
up,
be
of
right.
course, but sick leave, you don't do that.
No, 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 no. You don't take
Guess
sick
who has
leave.
an opinion? Guess who has an opinion? That's right, the
We have a
meow
guest
cat.
visitor.
For those who are watching the video, Luna the cat decided to interrupt in her way. She has never taken sick leave. She's always a cute cat. She would say meow, but she's trying to run away.
She's having a day off. Just having a
Like
sickie.
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I was
I
sitting there
think the
today
COVID
because
thing is definitely a difference. And then I also remember there was a distinct difference between med school and after med school. I think like one of them.
okay, like med school doesn't count. You're in university.
Yeah, like I remember the best advice there was just like, just enjoy as much as you can now because then you're going to be working for a while.
Yeah.
So
But, like,
back then,
med school,
the
like,
excuse to take a day off from hospital was, well, it's sunny today and we're in Melbourne. This doesn't happen very often.
I wonder if there's like more of a correlation in like London or somewhere that's like Iceland medical students like sunny day, then no one's coming in.
Yeah. Turns out it doesn't work in Perth. Every day is sunny.
So like Perth medical students never go to.
Yeah. I don't understand how they even turn up anywhere any day.
But like at least then you're not in a job, right? Like it's not like if medical students didn't rock up, it's not like the hospital system collapses. It's obviously it impacts their training, and they are used like they do notes and whatnot.
It is useful free labor, but not essential free labor.
Well, it's not paid labor, like as in the responsibility. It's not like someone's paying you for your time.
You can't expect the free labor to be responsible.
Yeah, and also like legally they can't be responsible, right? Like so like I don't count medical student days because it's still training time. They still have training wheels on. They haven't come off yet. The full responsibility for whatever is not there yet, right? But I think afterwards, I think in total, most years if like flu season, couple of days here and there, and then snot would still be dribbling down, but I'd be back at work after the fevers had subsided. So today, the reason it was in my mind is like, this is not the usual threshold, right? Like, this is not where I used to have the threshold for things. And again, like you said, I think post-COVID has changed things. It's like it's almost like we've turned a little bit into like Asian society, because I think they had like, like all the different flus over the years. Like bird flu, whatnot. And so the mask is so common over there, right? And over there, they wear the mask so that they don't infect the rest of society. And so I feel like COVID's kind of done that little bit where I'm like, yeah, I probably shouldn't spread it. Whereas that was always the case, right? Like that should have always been the case. I remember rocking up to a pain round once and I was just coughing nonstop, like to the point where I wasn't even in there. And they're like, you should go home. Like, if I go home, who's going to cover the weekend? That's the only reason I'm here. And they were like, yeah, actually, good point. Don't go home. Right?
Yeah, please stay.
Yeah, right. Because I knew we were tired. So the only reason I came was because it was going to be a long weekend and no one else was going to cover it. And the one person who'd get lumped with it would have to do 10 different things, and they're all friends. So you just go, look, I'm not dying. I'll be here. But I think post-COVID, like my entire thing was like, am I infectious? Will I pass it on? And so I called in sick. But that also got me thinking. It's like, I know that it's culturally like Australians, chuck a sickie before or after long weekends and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to like, can you guess like roughly like how do we fare against the world? Like how many days do you think? Like as in for me, it's about 3 days.
I guess we take a few more days than most countries because
I
feel like we've got a lot of leave already in Australia. Yeah. So I think not being at work is, valued.
But wouldn't you say that because we got so much leave that you don't have to take as many sick leave? Like a proper sickie when you're not really sick. No?
I think the work culture is a bit different. Like it's not like in the US where you're like, oh, if you work at this startup, you can take as much leave as you want, which is code for if you ever take leave, That's going to be
You're not
looked
working
upon
at that
poorly.
startup. So on average, like I would guess that I take about say 3 and 1 year. So when I got COVID, I took 5 days off because I was kind of
What? Okay, fine.
So like on average, maybe. Oh no, sorry. This was when it was mandated. I had to take 2 weeks. That's
Oh,
right. Sorry,
wow.
that was 2 weeks, but that was mandated by the Australians, like the Victorian standards. So I had
I think
to.
the longest that I had leave as well was one of those ones where I got viral conjunctivitis. The one thing
Oh.
an eye doctor cannot ever get.
How long do you have to be off of that?
Oh, that's pretty much while your eyes are red, and it's like a good 1 to 2 weeks. I can't remember how much that was, but
Okay.
that was a good chunk of time.
Okay, but
And
on average, how many days would you say in a
I
year you
averaged
take
like
off?
a day or two here or there. Like it'd be like, yeah, this cold's going on a bit, and I'm now febrile. All right, I'll
Yeah,
take today off. Tomorrow
like
I'll be tomorrow
three
I'll
to
be less
five.
feverish. Yeah, I go 1 to 2 days probably would be the norm for me
Yeah,
before. Yeah,
yeah, I would say like probably on average maybe 3 days if I had to like if I
mm,
had to average out like the
yeah,
COVID stuff and like bad flus, I'd say three
sure.
days.
Be in the
Some
same
most
ballpark, something
yeah
like that,
yeah.
I'd say.
So any guesses as to what the average Australian takes off?
Maybe 5 days.
13.8. So you were almost on the money with the 2 week thing.
Mm.
Yeah. So 2 weeks, right? Which is an increase of 2.6 days since 2019. So since COVID, people have
Yeah, that
gone.
makes sense.
Yep. But you were also saying that the average Australian person takes more, right? Guess how much the Germans take? This
They
is
take even
Germany.
more.
No,
Well,
I mean,
maybe now that I know it's 13, maybe they're very strict about these things because it's also, I get the feeling it's more of a right by the rules thing. And so if you're sick, you must take your sick leave. I'm going
okay.
to guess like 15 days for them.
19.4.
Mm,
Yeah. Okay, and since you mentioned US startups, how much do you think US people take?
none. 0.
5 to 7 days, right?
Yeah, that sounds,
So, yeah, right.
yeah.
Uh, and okay, so this
Plus,
is the
over
weird
there,
stat.
you can't, and everybody knows you're not sick for that long because you can't afford to be sick for that long.
It's like it turns out if you increase healthcare costs, people take less sick days. They're just not sick.
Exactly. It's a great solution.
How do we stay healthy? Make being sick kind of.
So going by that, by making healthcare expensive, people take less sick days. Therefore, they must be healthier.
Yeah, they're less sick. So overall, the one that got me, the one weird stat got me. How many days do you think the UK takes off, considering the numbers we've talked about?
I'm going to go with the same number because I'd be a bit sad there. There's not a lot of sunlight, and I think I'd need like some days off just to like.
Yeah. So what's your number?
Go with same actually, same as Australia, 13.
13?
Yeah.
4.6.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
On average,
that's
it's
surprising.
isn't it?
I mean, I can imagine back in ye olde England as a conquering empire, you can't take too many sick days, but they're
But
not doing
remember,
that so much nowadays.
the UK probably has more accessible preventative healthcare, but also is equally demoralizingly high cost of living.
This is confusing. This is not one I
Right?
would have picked.
Which actually the reason I wanted to go through the numbers is because
Mm.
somewhere between the Australian pension for taking a Sickie at 14 days and I don't know what's going with Germany at 20, right? But if you look at America and you go, okay, preventive healthcare is probably a bit lacking there, and the UK, somewhere in the 5 to 7 days is probably the average number of sick days like the days you're actually sick, right? You like just looking at that data, you go,
Yeah.
yeah, like somewhere there is probably like where you're not quite right? And so that kind of brings me back to that initial question of like when do you call in sick, but also if you're sick, how many days do you take off, right? Like as
Yeah, true.
in when
When
do
do
you
you
go
come
back?
back to work?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it when
right.
you're 100%?
Yeah.
Or is it when you're, not dead?
And
You
funny
have
you say
a
that.
pulse again.
So this morning I was like in this moral conundrum, so I did what any reasonable person does and checked the roster to make sure. Well, I didn't. I just messaged our secretary like, are we like I'm not totally fine, but if we're really stuck, I'll come in. I just got like in all caps, is like, you're allowed to take sick leave, right? And then I was like, well, like I don't feel that bad. And the text message back was like, this is sick leave, not dead leave. They're different. You're like literally dying. That's of course you're gonna take that, but you're allowed to take this one because we're not that tired today. Like on the roster.
Fair point. Death leave versus
So I was
sick
like,
leave.
well, I will add that to my vocabulary.
And I think it actually makes a lot of sense. Like, if you're not feeling well, take a sick day off. You will actually get better quicker. Like, you slept in today, you felt better. Odds are if you went around, pooping all over the theatre hospitals, you probably wouldn't have gotten better so quick.
Yeah. Or if I was just like randomly vomiting into surgical field, it probably wouldn't have helped either.
It's probably not the best thing for the hospital.
But some other interesting facts. So we talked about like the number of
the UK one still boggles me.
Right? Like yeah. So it turns out like how much do you think like millennials and Gen Z, more or less than boomers?
Well, I guess the stereotype would be more.
And you would be correct. I'm just trying to find the stats. They're about, oh yeah, here we go. So on average, Gen Z workers are 14.3 days and baby boomers are 9 days. So we're somewhere, well,
that
I don't know where we fit in. Yeah.
We're a bit more British, I say.
Yeah. And the private sector, they take about 4 or 5 days less than the public sector, which makes sense because you've got entitlements and this, that, and the other.
Makes sense.
The interesting thing I found was in terms of like, most of the time in Australia, it's like if there's a long weekend, you make it even longer, right? Like I find that hilarious. It's like, it's already long, so let's just make it even worse than it is.
Of course.
Of course, right? But there was a statistic which I can't find at the moment, which showed that if you map it out to sporting events, because, a lot of Australians follow sports, so it correlates. But the one interesting thing it also correlates with is the American Super Bowl. So the day after American Super Bowl, which is not that big here, there's also a spike in
Australia. Okay, well that's confusing.
Well, it's in the middle of the night.
Soccer? I guess like World Cup. Same thing.
I didn't look up the soccer one. I was just like, interesting stats
that would
about
be the same too.
Yeah. So I was like, wow. So it's not just long weekends; it's also any major sporting event. So yeah, so major events like
as soon as you combine the two, it's all on.
Which is probably why.
I remember during training, there was one junior person who would be like, "Oh, I think there's a game on. You'll be sick tomorrow," and bam, there it is.
Which like, okay, now bringing it back to the numbers, right? Like, so Australia about 14 days, and we've kind of guesstimated based on just totally nonsensical numbers that probably average person is sick about 7 actual days, 5 to 7 days, right? And we probably have about 5 to 7 sporting events related things, right? Yeah. So then actual sick plus 5 to 7 gets to your 14, right? So there you go. It's
very unlikely that you happen to fall sick every like Melbourne Cup.
Well, I would argue that the Australian culture of drinking heavily kind of says the other way, that you're probably not.
Maybe it really is sick leave because the next day you actually need to recover.
The one last thing was, how much do you think it costs the economy because of unplanned absences? Like rough ballpark figure.
This, I don't know, because
millions,
it's such a hard
tens of millions, hundreds of millions,
I'm
billions.
Guess like hundreds of millions, because right, that's a big number. Yeah, because you got to fill in the gap, and you have to pay a lot to suddenly fill in gaps at the last minute, or lose productivity essentially.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of like, I mean, in the medical field, no one fills in, and you just make do with less people burning out more. Well, I mean, actually, I think in the medical
not really.
sense,
like, for example, if I took a sick day and I had an operating day, then that list would get cancelled.
Yeah, exactly, right? Or when you're junior, your colleague, like, this is why we used to fill in, because you're like, oh man, I had to do that the other day when someone else was actually sick. And you almost can't do that to a friend because it's just how painful it is. And then the other thing that happens, I'm sure you've seen this too, where one person falls sick, and so the burden falls on the other, and then you get a chain of sick leave because that person runs out, and then it keeps going for a while. I think I just wanted to end the sick leave part with going, I think it's probably a healthy thing after COVID that, especially in the medical field, people are actually taking the time off because, if I hadn't, I probably would have taken longer to recover. And the fact that if you take sick leave to actually recover earlier, that's probably net good for your workforce as well. Especially like.
And I think the other thing as well, that's
a
the thing, like that $33 billion would be the direct cost, but I wonder what the indirect cost of not taking that sick leave is.
Yeah, especially like, remember we did that episode on like burnout and things like that. Like this afternoon, even though I felt guilty for feeling well, at the same time I was like, I just went for like a short walk afterwards, and I was like, I'm just so glad I was able to do that. Like, I know that if I had rocked up to work, I would have just been grumpy and tired, and like I was doing simple
and possibly
cases,
like when you're tired and not well, it's when you make mistakes, which is not great.
But even let's just say that I didn't make any mistakes, right? But me being grumpy and tired because I had a registrar as well, a certain amount of stress would have been transferred as the weekend, and like you create this chain of events. So I don't know, like part of me is like, maybe this is the new me, like this is 2025 Raffy, more sick leave, but with that, we at the end of the episode, and so it's time for a random fact. Chandra, do you have your random fact?
Yes. So as you might remember from last episode, I've been becoming a little bit of a farming person.
Yes, legal farming. Yes,
very legal, very legal, very hydroponic. So microgreens are my new thing. So I've got a couple of trays. I've ordered some more from Temu.
Nothing like the legitimate Temu micro tray.
It's like microplastics, but
organic.
Exactly. But microgreens is the next thing. Turns out microgreens, NASA has also been researching growing microgreens in space because of their fast growth and high nutritional content. So if people ask, why do you have a hydroponic setup on your boat? And I'm like, it's like NASA, but much poorer.
See, my version was like, NASA's also been researching it because even astronauts want to get high. Like, I can just see like the AI generated meme for this, which is astronauts listening to Snoop Dogg with like a marijuana joint or something.
If we had Spotify cover titles, that should be the cover title for this episode.
Well, my one is very random. It turns out, like, remember, like, if you were like watch anime or read any like ye old medieval thing, like alchemists were always trying to turn like lead or other substances into gold.
Yes.
Turns out it's real. So
really?
Yes. So it has actually been done. And like it got reported this week, right?
Wow.
The Large Hadron Collider it has actually been converting lead to gold, and it's been verified, right? It's like fractions of a gram or fractions of a thousandth of a gram or something. So it's tiny, tiny particles. So it turns out that if you fire like high energy particles at each other and one of them's lead, so supposedly what it has to happen is it has to dislodge a proton from one or 3 protons across, and it converts the substance, right? It's really hard to do. And if you directly hit, it just smashes, right? And that's what they're actually trying to do. But if there's a near miss, you get like the strong force particles, like the strong and weak magnetic forces. So the strong forces can rip just enough off, right? So it has to be a near miss for it to happen.
So it has to be a perfect accident.
Yeah, it has to be a perfect accident. So hence it's like fractions of a gram that they're producing, and it just falls off. So you go, whoa, we've done alchemy, but what a world we live in, because the scientists are like sad this is happening because when that happens, the beams then like it becomes too heavy and it falls out of orbit and they have to restart. Like,
they're like, damn it, guys, we did alchemy again.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, it was so hilarious. We do alchemy, and we're like, damn it, we're doing alchemy. We didn't want to do alchemy anymore.
Were you drawing signs on the floor again? Is that what happened? Were you drawing stars on the floor?
Yeah, it's like the meme would be like, thousands of years, wants to convert lead into gold. Now converts lead into gold, wants it to be lead again.
It's like, please go back, lead.
Yeah, like can we just keep firing the lead? Like I don't want the new mist. Can you just stay where you are? We don't want to convert you into something shiny anymore.
This also does
No.
seem like a slightly brown thing to do. It's like, all right, let's just build this massive like hadron collider thing. We'll just spend like billions on that, and guess what? We're gonna get free gold. Like today, I got $2 of free gold,
Okay.
and
Also,
you know it's better than regular gold because it's free gold.
Well, because I was also like,
It's like any
does that
food.
mean
If it's discounted or free,
absolutely? It tastes so much better. You know, free
amazing.
is just it's with extra free sauce. You know that's the best. So I wonder if they just kind of let the cleaners come and sweep the gold, and that's their payment. Like, you know, because it's supposedly actually like goes out of orbit and lands on the floor of the collider.
It seems like what you'd be like, all right, student, I have a job for you.
I mean, you know, but there you go. Alchemy is actually being done, and
That
with
is
that,
cool.
that is my random fact for this episode of the randInt podcast. Any last things you want to say?
Well, if you are an expert microgreen grower or an alchemist, please get in touch. Would love to hear from you.
Oh, yeah. And if you have any stories of you taking a Sickie, it's totally anonymous. You can just leave us a comment. You can leave us a voicemail. You can
We promise
DM
not to
us
out
on
you to your
socials.
workplace. Definitely.
Yeah, you can have a pseudonym if you like. You can use your nemesis's name as your pseudonym. We don't know. We're just gonna put whatever you say in there.
Wait, this seems like a poor life choice, but let's go with that.
Yeah. Your nemesis, Steve. Steve did these things, you know?
Definitely.
So yeah, leave us a message about your best Sickie story, or if you have a colleague who did a Sickie, we would love to know. And do you feel guilty when you check a Sickie? Because that was like the thing that I was doing all day today. And yeah, do like and subscribe and follow the show in all the platforms, especially Spotify and Apple. And we will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.